Are you there by yourself, or are you isolating with somebody?
Chelsea is still going to work, and we are hiding out from the world together.
Okay, cool. I don't think I've ever met her.
No, probably not. She is not Jubes folk.
Mm-hmm.
And I had already moved to Calgary by the time we got together, so very probably you haven't.
Makes sense.
Though you would the next time we road trip to Edmonton.
Okay, sweet. I'm going to make a quick... I ended up drinking beer anyways because I said fuck it. I'm going to grab one more and then just to get myself situated.
Absolutely.
And I'm taking my time, eh? 1 second. Okay, good to go. I want to welcome everybody to Dope Nostalgia. This is the very first time I'm doing a video feed as well for the show. Because that's, like you said, that's how life's going to be for a while.
It's all going to be on video from now on.
That's right. For the rest of humanity.
Oh, no.
I'm trying to stay optimistic, so that's how you do it. Live.
That's true, because whatever happens from here, it's going to be all up.
I hope so. Yeah. I'm going to introduce everybody to Kris Munroe is my guest today. And he's a big fan of the band we're going to talk about. Kris, tell everybody about your podcast before we get started.
Well, I am Kris Munroe. I am the host of a show called The Soundtrack to a Life. Basically what happens is on the 1st and the 15th of the month, I have a guest on, and they bring me an album that is emotionally important to them that I have never heard. And then they walk me through it, and I give my first impressions of a piece of music that I've never heard. And then I do the same for them. I have a list of albums that have meant something to me, and they pick something that they've never listened to before. And they come back with their first impressions of it, and we talk about it from there.
Now, how many episodes are you in now?
The 61st episode drops tomorrow as we record this.
That's good. You have a body of work there. Definitely. And where can people find it?
Soundtrack Cast on Facebook and Twitter, and soundtrackcast.com. Also Apple, and every app that someone has ever told me they were looking for it for and could not find it.
I was trying to find it on Spotify. That's my go-to.
I still got to get it on Spotify.
Okay. I'm not, because I'm an Android person. I'm a PC person. I don't have any Apple stuff anymore, so I have a hard time finding things.
I mean, you truly don't need it anymore.
No.
Only reason I still get my my podcasts on Apple is because it had already been arranged the way I like it, and I'm too lazy to change it now.
You're going to get a lot of listeners through Apple. But hey, have you ever had somebody say that they absolutely hated the album that you were showing them? Or has it ever gotten like really rowdy or anything like that?
It's never gotten rowdy. I have definitely given music to people who did not appreciate it. I had to bring in a gentleman from Australia to listen to the Tragically Hip, because no one in Canada doesn't know the Tragically Hip already. Uh-huh. It will not surprise you to learn that some of the Canadiana does not export.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm not a Hip fan myself, and that's been a hard thing to say publicly over the last couple of years. It's something you just don't really say in Canada. Since the passing, and obviously it's the illness leading into his death of Gord Downie. But I never really liked any of their songs. I like one song, and it's the video where they're with the Trailer Park Boys and Don Cherry. They're in it. It's called The Darkest Ones. That song. Yeah. It's the only Hip song I like.
Well, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying Ahead by the Century should replace O Canada as our national anthem.
I think they might put Gord on some money one day. You know,
I would be very surprised if he doesn't wind up on the $10 bill within my lifetime. For some reason, it's the 10 that we've chosen to put different people on.
I go with the 50 mission cap.
Oh, good call.
But is the 50 too big of a bill? They want to put talking about Terry Fox maybe going on some money, right?
Yep.
I think he's the number one choice to get on money right now. I think he's the biggest Canadian legend who deserves an honor such as that.
I'd buy it. I could also see in the aftermath of this, Tommy Douglas getting on some money.
Yes.
We're going to come out of this pandemic really valuing healthcare.
Kiefer's grandpa.
Right?
Did you ever hear about the time that Kiefer Sutherland came into my restaurant?
No.
Last year. I think it was in the summer. And I was working at a restaurant in downtown Edmonton, and he was in town doing a show because he's like doing blues music and like a country southern rock type of genre show now, hey? And he was playing at the 1-year anniversary of the station downtown. And he came for both brunch and dinner at my restaurant, and I got to serve him.
Nice.
He's such a gentleman. What a cool guy. And we had a really funky, like, vintage lamps on each table. Everyone's different. And he liked the lamp on his table, and he asked me, listen, can I buy this lamp? And I said, I don't see why not, but let me just message my boss and find out. And they're like, tell him he can have it if he autographs the table. Just sign the table or whatever. Get him a Sharpie.
Nice.
So I passed that on to him, and he goes, tell you what, no, I'm going to sign this table, but I'm also going to give you $100 for the lamp. And then he took it. Took it. Yeah, it was so cool. And like, I really like, I played it quiet. I was good. Like, I didn't let any of the other customers in the restaurant really know that he was there. Like,
yeah.
But they didn't know it till he left. And then once he was already like down the street, I'm like, did any of you guys see who that was? It was amazing.
Good. That does seem great.
Anyways, that's my little story. But Tommy Douglas, yeah, a true Canadian hero.
Truly 'tis.
Because we definitely don't have an Alberta hero at the moment in charge.
Man, this would have gone down easier when we had a premiere.
Like a real one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or even a bad one, like Doug Ford is doing better than our guy.
Is it really?
That
I
is
haven't
him.
been paying attention to what's happening over in Ontario.
They're doing better rent protections than we're doing.
Oh, he's just telling landlords, don't just be kind. Or
Yeah.
My favorite was when he says, I trust the business owners of Alberta to make the right choices. You can't
Please.
trust the business owners of Alberta to make the right choices.
Please don't.
No, you have to make the call.
Oh.
But alas, this is the world we live in right now, and it's a day-by-day situation. So as long as I don't run out of beer and food, I'm content in my introvert world.
That is important.
Yeah. But it's cool because we have this opportunity to socialize this way. And I haven't talked to you in years, so I'm so happy to see you.
Right?
Yeah.
Other than like brief exchanges over Twitter, it is good to see you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Do you want to tell people? So you work at Jubilations as well. You're in theater.
I do. Well, I mean, I don't work anywhere now.
I'm unemployed too for the first time since I was 17.
Exciting times. Previous to that, I was doing improv and serving at Jubilations at Dinner Theater, and I was doing their children's show.
Oh, I didn't know they had a children's show.
They do a children's show every Saturday as a matinee.
That's amazing.
And I was playing the Andre the Giant part in a Princess Bride pastiche.
Do they do the children's matinee all across their Canadian locations? Or is it just the Calgary one?
It is all three, yeah.
Yes, by the way, Kris is coming to us live from Calgary, Alberta.
That's very true.
We're only about a 3-hour drive away. And you guys get to go to different, like if you're in cast for Jubilations, you get to travel, right, to the different cities with the production that travels?
Yeah, it is 3 months in Calgary, 3 months in Edmonton, and 3 months in Winnipeg.
There you go. Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Except distance. That's about it. I still do the karaoke thing at Rosario's. That's still my thing.
Oh, I missed that place. That place was fun.
Yeah. I loved when you guys were coming there. But then I know that you guys started going to a different pub that was closer to where you work, which made sense.
Yeah, the cast could literally walk up a flight of stairs and they were home.
Yeah, that made a lot of sense. But we definitely missed you guys when you moved over there. It was too far for me to go. I think I went a couple times to visit everybody, but yeah.
It was the clearly better bar was Rosario's, but you could not argue with that convenience.
Nope, because then it keeps everyone safe too. Like, safety's when people are drinking, that's most important. And guess what? There's no drinking and driving happening right now.
That's true. That will probably save a bunch of lives.
I don't even think
it won't be worth it.
It's true. I think there's going to be a lot of people because honestly, are people still getting together for house parties? I bet you some are.
I would bet money so, yes.
Being all sneaky about it and stuff. But see, I've been okay because like I said, I am an extroverted introvert, so I like my me time and I like that. Like, as long as I have this, I'm fine, but I'm literally just me and my cat. I'm a 40-year-old with a cat, all home alone, making a podcast.
That seems great. I am literally a middle-aged white dude with a podcast about his opinions. I am the most cliche.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And this is how many? I'm not sure yet when this one's going to air, so I can't really jump the gun on that. But as of today, I released the 12th episode. So we started in January, and it's been weekly.
Nice.
Yeah.
How is that?
How is it for planning it out and time and all that?
Yeah, getting it all done.
Because I enjoy it so much, it's super easy. Because it's something I do for fun. So, yeah, I enjoy the editing. I enjoy the interviews, and it's great. It's really great. And I've thrown in little commercials. Like, I'll take a commercial from the 90s and throw it in. Or don't you put it in your mouth? Or I'll put in your mouth. I'll put some kind of excerpt of something from that era into every episode.
I've heard you got on Apple Podcasts finally.
I sure did.
Meaning that you beat me there before I got to Spotify, which I apologize for. But I wound up getting 5 or 6 of them. I was listening to your Color Me Bad one immediately previous to this.
That was so exciting.
I bet.
Because I didn't expect people to say yes.
Yeah.
This is my state of the podcast address. I didn't expect people to say yes, and they did. And I just reached out through their social media, and that's how it got the ball rolling. Because I think the more episodes we get out there and other people who I'd like to interview can see who we've had on the show, it'll be easier to get. Yeah, it'll be easier to get people to appear. The one that was just published today was Eric Martin of Mr. Big.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm interviewing his bandmate, Billy Sheehan, tomorrow. Because everyone's in quarantine.
Nobody
they might have some time on their hands.
I don't know if you know this already. Follow Tim Burgess of the Charlatans on Twitter.
Oh, you sent me that link.
Yeah. He's doing his listening parties, and they are very good.
From the Charlatans of the UK?
Yeah.
Cool. I don't think I've ever listened to them before.
Ooh, damn, you should start. They're very good. It is good quality summertime, fun time music.
One thing I'm going to be really interested about, especially if I come onto your show, is the difference in musical taste that you and I might have. I think there's a lot of things that we agree on from looking at the list of albums that are albums that we're going to discuss. There's a few in there that I am a big fan of, but I think a lot of the stuff on your list, I'm like, I have no idea about this music. So, nice. Hey, that's kind of what we want, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Get people in with fresh eyes. In fact, now that we've talked about it, I'm gonna dig up something by the Charlatans and have you listen to that.
Okay. There. That makes it easy. So when I come to your show, that's what you're going to do. And you're going to be listening to the third album from the band Extreme called Three Sides to Every Story. It's a long album, though. It's a long album.
That's all right. I made my buddy Olav listen to Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness the other day. He was not pleased with its length.
Was it a double CD?
It was a double CD.
I feel like it was.
Yep.
I feel like it was.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Is Olaf like still in Edmonton, or is he down in Calgary? Or
no, he's in Edmonton.
Okay, I remember him from years back.
Yeah, he's still. He also came in via Skype.
Nice. I have an announcement to make. Now, we have a beer sponsor on the show. A local craft brewery that's called Analog Brewery supplies all the beer for this show, Joe Nostalgia. And then we tell everybody about their amazing product. Now, it's been almost a month since I went down to pick up some beer. And then I had a couple guests on, and we drank all the beer. And then we all went into quarantine. So those guys right now are out there delivering beer to people's homes. Free delivery over $50, I believe. That's what I've been hearing. Don't quote me on that. I'm going to have to edit that out. but drop in and check out Analog Brewery if you can. Like, I know that they're in the liquor stores in town too, and probably in Calgary as well. But what I love about their brewery is definitely their 90s retro aesthetic. 80s, 90s, it's all throwback. It's all good beer. If you like IPAs, they have a lot of them. So check that out. But because I ran out of their beer, I had to get Pabst Blue Ribbon, PBR.
Oh, you never have to have Pabst Blue Ribbon, though. Reminder, if you're going to drink some Pabst Blue Ribbon, sobriety is also an option. Pabst, if you want to get at me and sponsor me, I will shut the fuck up about your terrible beer.
I'm sure they don't want to sponsor any of us. It's fine. It's fine. But PBR, it's because like we're in a financial possible crisis as well. So when I decided I was going to get beer, I was going to find a very cheap beer.
That checks out.
Yeah. I can't drink my normal snooty beers that I enjoy. My craft brews. So anyways, PBR it is.
Yep.
It's in the budget. And today we are here to chat about the band K.L.F. Now, the thing about K.L.F. is that they've had a lot of different names over the years too, right? Like,
also known as the Justified Ancients of Mumu, and furthermore known as the Jams. Furthermore, the Time Lords, the K Foundation, and the Oneworld Orchestra, featuring the Massive Pips and the drums of the Children's Free Republic, Volunteer Guards, and the Copyright Liberation Front.
I think they just kept changing it for the fuck it. No reason at all, just to change it up.
I would not be shocked by that at all. They have that kind of weird temperament.
One thing that struck me about the research that I did for these guys, they kind of seem like they would be dicks. I feel like if I met them, that they would be assholes. Do you think I might be off base on that?
I feel like they would be an asshole to someone, but I don't know if it will be you. I think you might have the time of your life listening to them tear down someone or something else.
Okay. Yes. That's true. That's true. Like maybe the establishment.
Yeah. Or the music industry. Or their own career once they got tired of being famous.
The biggest part of their story we're going to get into eventually that struck me was how they tried to kill their own career.
I loved it. It is beautiful.
It's like, I can be like, I can't believe what I'm actually reading right now. Like how they went about doing it. But we'll get there eventually. So here's the part where I go, without music playing, how will we discuss each song? What's our game plan here?
I feel like we're just going to discuss each song and then you can put music in afterwards.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll be editing that out. Okay. The two gentlemen, their names, Bill Drummond and Jimmy Cauty. They're the ones behind the K.L.F. They're the ones that pretty much masterminded all the bands under the different names. Now, when I think of K.L.F, to get you guys to understand them, there's two songs that come to mind right off the bat that were big hits: 3 a.m. Eternal.
Yep.
And Justified and Ancient. And Justified and Ancient was a big, big deal because they enlisted Tammy Wynette to be the star of the song. And just the mashup of putting country with this electronic pop music was like, mashups are normal now. This kind of thing happens quite often, but back then it was not normal at all.
It was a weird pairing at the time, yeah. There was these guys and Tammy Wynette, and I think the Pet Shop Boys did a song with Dusty Springfield at approximately this time.
Whoa. Really?
Yeah. Yeah, Dusty sang on What Have I Done to Deserve This?
Pet Shop Boys. Okay. I'm looking that up. And it might not be the exact same year, but around the same era.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would also throw in addition to 3 a.m. Eternal and Justified and Ancient, I'd probably throw What Time Is Love in there.
Yes.
And a couple of years previous to The White Room coming out, Doctor in the TARDIS, if you've heard that one.
For the first time, I heard that one today. And I had questions about it. I have questions about it. This is under their name, Time Lords, the Time Lords. I've never seen Doctor Who in my life, but I understand that the term TARDIS refers to Doctor Who. Here's where you're basically going to be explaining this for dummies right now. The song, da 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 da, hey, da da da, that I've heard forever. Is that the theme to the Doctor Who show, or is that a different song?
No, that is a song called Rock and Roll Part 2 by Mr. Gary Glitter.
Okay.
That they have edited together through samples with the Doctor Who theme and a third unrelated song by, I believe it's Sweet. That 70s, yeah.
Okay. Flower and Blitz Suite.
Yep.
Got it.
The first part of their career, they spent using unauthorized samples and then being sued for that. Their debut album actually had to be recalled after ABBA became very litigious about a sample that they did not get permission to use.
Ah.
And they had to take every copy of it that was not already out there in the world to a field and then set them on fire. And then they used pictures of that as the cover to their next record.
Really? Okay. We're going to somehow edit this imagery in here. Oh. Now, yeah, early in their career, they were doing a lot of sampling, right? A lot. And I even understand that they did a version of Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody, and that Arista Records head Clive Davis ended up trying to sign them to Arista to do their own music. Is that correct? Or am I reading this all wrong?
I believe that's true, yeah.
Okay. Because hence that there's a title there called Whitney Joins the Jams.
Yep.
What is that?
That is built around, obviously, Whitney Houston samples. Wedded together with their Stadium Acid House feel. It's fascinating in 2020, looking back, to think that it was very controversial to break down music and then recontextualize it in a different way and have that be, because that war has been won.
Yeah.
That is just what we do now.
Yeah. Why would it have been controversial then? Is it a matter of songwriters getting credit for samples?
Yeah, I believe that the original artist wondered why their drum loop or their guitar riff or their vocal sample was on this record. And
okay.
At the time, nothing like that had ever happened before. There was not the context needed for it.
I feel like if you're the writer of said sample, you should, now that we live in a world where it's all figured out, you should be happy because you're going to make money off it.
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as you're credited properly, you're going to make money off of it.
That one Eminem song was the best thing that ever happened to Dido.
Right? I would think so. Absolutely. But it's funny because, like, I think it was that time period was when the sampling really, really started, because there's a lot of songs that came out that I was hearing as a 12-year-old for the first time that I had no idea were hits before that by somebody else. Yeah. Tons of them, starting with like You Can't Touch This, MC Hammer. I had no idea about Rick James.
Yeah.
Right. So then years down the road, then I hear the originals and I go, oh, even like My Name Is Slim Shady, the original to that. What was that sampling? There's all kinds of, everything was sampled.
Yeah. If you listen to 5 specific Stevie Wonder records from the 70s, you will hear the chorus of every 90s rap song.
It's true. The Wild Wild West.
Also, I recommend you do so. Stevie Wonder in the 70s turns out to have been good.
I love Stevie. His stuff is amazing. Amazing. And so I bet you he made a lot of money off of like Gangsta's Paradise.
I hope so. He deserved to.
Yeah. That was one of the few rap songs that all the white kids knew all the lyrics to.
Every single one, 0 exceptions.
Right. It's true. It's true. But going back to the sampling-ish things so they started their career, the K.L.F, with definitely doing a lot of that, a lot of sampling. And so they got in trouble from ABBA. That's where we left off there.
That is correct. They then proceeded to use that image as the cover of their follow-up album. They released a number of one-off singles, each of which I'm sure caused its own share of legal problems, though not to the same degree. They did an ambient mix called Chill Out that is actually very relaxed, although not what I go to them for. And then they followed that up with, and this is where we get to what will probably be the meat, The White Room, at which point they were fucking everywhere.
And that would have been probably around the time where they were literally everywhere and they were the biggest selling singles act in the world in 1991.
Yes. They were that omnipresent thing that went out, conquered the world immediately.
But if you ask people now about the K.L.F, no one fucking knows who I'm talking about. Any millennial would not really... I say like really young millennial. Maybe what is the new kids? What are they called now? The ones that are going to spring NKOTB? No. The ones that are going for spring break in Florida and they're like, we don't care about COVID-19. What are those kids called?
Oh, the Zoomers.
Okay.
I've heard Zoomers and I've heard Gen Z.
Gen Z, I've heard. So Gen Z doesn't know who the K.L.F is, but in 1991, they were the biggest selling singles act in the world, which is a huge thing. That set them for life.
Yeah. Or did it?
I guess if you destroy your own back catalog, maybe not.
Right? It's still not on, they're still not on Spotify. Like they held to that.
I looked them up. They don't have the actual albums. There's 2 compilation albums that feature K.L.F songs and remixes on Spotify right now.
Yeah, that is.
And it's like it's only the big hit singles, like, and about 3 or 4 remixes of each one.
Yeah.
You can't even find the TARDIS song on there.
Yeah, so, that is why The White Room and Doctor and the TARDIS on CD single are the only things that I still listen to on compact disc.
Really?
Yeah.
How? Yeah, these guys. So they become huge. They do the Tammy Wynette video. They're all massive rotation on like Much Music, MTV. They're big, but this gets to them, right? Like they is it just that they didn't like fame? What do you think?
I mean, I think part of it might have been that they didn't like fame. I think part of it might have been the same kind of spiky, we're making dance music, but we're actually a punk band attitude that caused them to not care about getting sued for the first half of their career.
Interesting. But they're actually a punk band. You could say that possibly about Chris Sheppard, because he was making electric music, but deep down he had punk roots.
Yeah. I think probably EMF had a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was clearly dance music, but attitudinally, these rather be smashing their gear at the end of the show and then leaping into a mosh pit.
Uh-huh. Oh, fair. Now, what's the Orb? Does that come way later?
The Orb comes way later, yeah. It's more of a, like, ambient house type thing from the late 90s. I haven't listened to a lot of the Orb.
Okay. We'll go look at the Orb later on. Are they both involved in that project? Both Bill and Jimmy? I think it might be just Jimmy.
Yeah, I think it's only one of them.
Okay. But yeah, so these guys are 92, 91, they're awesome. 92, they suddenly disappear and delete their back catalog. But first, before they did that, they purposely tried to kill their own career.
Absolutely.
I'd love it if you told the story.
You can watch the moment they put a stop to the K.L.F on YouTube if you want to look it up.
I'm going to add it to our YouTube playlist for the listeners so they can see what they did. Because I haven't seen this moment yet, and I want to.
Essentially, they show up to the Brit Awards one year to, I believe, accept an award. And for their musical spot, they bring up the thrash band Extreme Noise Terror.
Okay.
Blow everything up, throw a dead sheep into the audience.
No, did they actually throw the dead sheep into the audience? Because I read it differently. I read it they wanted to. They wanted to dismember the sheep or on stage, but the Extreme guys were like they weren't gonna have that. So I read that they ended up leaving the dead sheep outside an after party with a note.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. That is what they wound up doing. And yeah, truly, no one wanted Extreme Noise Terror to be there other than Bill Drummond and Jim Cauty. It was... It is a bizarre performance where they reminded you that in addition to having been the biggest pop stars in the world for the whole previous year and a half, they are still not so much celebrities as a ongoing weird performance art piece about the nature of celebrity, and that you need to remember the difference between the two or else they will rip your face off.
Just kind of pressing the reset button and going, hey, no, this is what we were actually about. So if we piss off enough of you in mainstream,
it simultaneously makes me love them 100 times more and is deeply uncomfortable to watch.
Well, that'll be good. That'll be better than watching like the roast of like Justin Bieber or something like that. Those can get uncomfortable too, but so good. Anyway, yeah, we'll add that to our YouTube channel so people can actually watch the event as it happened. So what happens after they do that? What is it? What's out there in the press? Like, is everybody shocked and appalled?
Well, the press is starting, I guess, to turn on them by that point. This is, they go back into the studio with Extreme Noise Terror to work on an album that never comes out called The Black Room.
Oh.
They nail £1 million to a plank of wood and attempt to auction it off as a piece of art.
Okay.
They take another $1 million out to an island, set that on fire, and film the whole thing. They do a $40,000 award for the worst artist in the UK. And
Okay,
then
explain that. So they're looking for the worst artist in the UK? Or
yeah, essentially, I believe it was the Turner Prize
Mhm.
awards £20,000 to the best artist in the UK. So they announce £40,000 for the worst, and then give it to the same person.
Okay.
They then, if you're wondering, whether they know what they're doing or not, they then reform, are a band again, contribute one song to a charity album to help kids in Bosnia, and then
Okay.
go right back to imploding.
That's so fucked up because, like, here's the thing: they light $1 million, £1 million on fire, which they could have probably given to charity, but no, we're just gonna burn this fucking money. But don't worry, we're gonna do this one cool thing.
Yeah,
So they're not total dicks. Like,
yeah,
they're
they
doing something
they
cool.
want to help people, but there's
Yeah.
also a creative statement about commercialism in art that
That's
they're in the
interesting.
middle of making, and they're not going to let that stop them from setting money literally on fire. Also, I would thrillingly recommend the song they put on the Help album. That tune was rad as fuck.
Okay, say that again. Which song?
Um,
I'm gonna play it.
it's the Oneworld Orchestra, um, off the Help, a charity project for the children of Bosnia album.
Okay. That's gonna play on this podcast.
Yeah,
Or
that
at least a piece of it.
that record was really good. All of the classic mid-90s British indie royalty showed up, and the only rule was whatever they recorded, they had to do in a single 24-hour span.
Oh.
Yeah. Sounded really good, too. Like, Radiohead's first version of Lucky was on there. Portishead did a track. Suede covered an old Elvis Costello song. Stereo MCs were on there. Manic Street Preachers were on there. K.L.F was on there. Sinead O'Connor. Like, just, if it's 1995, anybody you could think of in that realm.
Must have been a very successful album.
I would presume so. I bought a copy.
There you go. Now, I listened to one song of theirs, and I wanted to ask you if you're familiar with "Build a Fire." The song "Build a Fire."
Oh yeah, that one's sweet.
That one that came up in my playlist. And it had elements because of the guitar work in it. It had elements of like a country music kind of sound as well. So I'm just wondering if that came out before or after the collaboration with Tammy Wynette.
I believe before, because Build a Fire was on the White Room. And the Tammy Wynette number came out a year or so afterward.
Oh, okay. Which of the albums is the album you would recommend for somebody who's never heard the K.L.F before?
Oh, it's absolutely White Room. Like, they made a really big commercial push with that in order to get all eyes on them. It is the most accessible that they ever are, and the most traditionally musical. It was their biggest album because it was the one with the giant hooks. Okay.
I like the phrase, like, what did you say? Like accessible, that they were accessible.
Yeah.
Through that.
And they are kind of a spiky group who can be hard to get into. So the 1 year span where they were building a pop audience in order, it turns out, to knock that audience down intentionally.
Yeah. That's the thing, though, is like when you do something like that and you're trying to make the statement that they're trying to make, a creative, artistic statement, who are you insulting? Are you insulting the establishment, or are you insulting the fans? Are you insulting the people that spend all the money on you?
I mean, I don't think you're insulting the people who spent the money on you. You're inviting them to take part in this elaborate piece that you're doing. Like,
are you?
If you have a very shallow relationship with them, then the fact that they're doing something completely different than what you thought that they were doing won't be relevant to you. You have a very shallow relationship with them. They got like 4 dope singles that sound great at a house party. Enjoy them like that. If you're willing to dig a little
fair
bit
weather
deeper,
fans.
yeah.
Yeah. But if you're really invested in the band, you're going to be like, oh, shit, yeah, guys.
Why? Why is there a mythology to your music videos from this thing? Why is there a post-apocalyptic wasteland and some kind of ancient cult and a weird mishmash of different cultures? Why do the guitar players have horns? Why is Tammy Wynette revealed to be your queen in part 4?
The garbage bags. Weren't they wearing garbage bags on stage?
I believe at one point they were wearing garbage bags on stage. Yep.
Do you know why?
I don't. I truly do not. There is so much going on. What is going on with the number 23?
I don't know. I didn't notice the number 23.
Their first single, All You Need Is Love, was catalog number Jams 23. It was 23 years between Tammy Wynette's Stand By Your Man and her version of Justified and Ancient. Jim and Bill wouldn't discuss why they had burned £1 million until 23 years had elapsed. Their reunion in 1997 lasted exactly 23 minutes. Copyright Liberation Front has 23 letters in it. Their comeback 23 years after burning the £1 million was at 23 seconds past midnight to launch the novel 2023. I don't know what it means.
Who figured this out?
This is the
Who
kind
did
of
the math?
This is the kind of band that lends itself to conspiracy theories.
Ooh, yes, that's true. Speaking of which, I'm going to drop a promo right now for It's a Conspiracy, my buddy Andrew's podcast, because that leads in nicely.
Ooh, that's a fact.
Yeah. Try to look through some of the other notes I took here. Of course, we were speaking about the Orb. So the Orb is a project that happened much later. Do you know approximately when that would have been? I can pull it up here if
I mean,
use the internet.
I vaguely remember it being roughly contemporary with bands like Basement Jaxx or Chemical Brothers or Fatboy Slim.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, it seems like they originally.
Oh, hold on! I gotta go yell at a dog.
Yeah, sure.
Quentin, be cool, man. Do you want little bones? You can have little bones.
Yeah, you got yourself a new puppy, didn't you?
I do. I got myself a 4-month-old Jack Russell Min Pin mix.
Little guy or girl?
Little guy.
What's his name again?
Quentin Tiberius Puppy.
What's he up to right now?
Right now, he is eating little bones out of his little bed, which I hope will stop him from trying to eat my headphones.
Yeah, they do that. I've never had a dog, but I think they're the cutest thing ever. I don't know. Maybe one day I should. I think I can't live life properly until I've had a dog.
You should shelter a dog for the duration of COVID-19.
Now, you just do you go? Do they bring you a dog, or do you go get a dog?
You do have to go get it.
Okay. Oh my goodness! The only problem is I'm a renter, so dogs I don't think are exactly allowed in my agreement. But that's been my problem why I've never had a dog, because I've never owned a house.
That checks out. See, this building's dog friendly, so I'm fully allowed to.
Are you in a condo or apartment or a house?
I'm in an apartment.
That's cool that they're dog friendly. They're hard to find.
Yeah, we picked this place specifically for that. But I'll admit I'm less familiar with the Orb than I am with their work from about like Doctor and the TARDIS through to Help.
Mm-hmm.
That was when they were doing all of the weird, interesting work.
These visually intense. Okay, apparently in the live shows of the 90s, the Orb performed using digital audio tape machines optimized for live mixing and sampling before switching to laptops and digital media. So they had colorful light shows and psychedelic imagery in concert, and these visually intense performances prompted critics to compare the group to Pink Floyd, whose guitarist David Gilmour collaborated with them on an album in 2010, Metallic Spheres.
Ooh,
Little Wikipedia break.
I would listen to that.
Yeah, if you're a Pink Floyd fan too.
Yeah.
There you go. So the Orb is still out there doing a thing, hey, because they put out 15 albums, with the last one being released in 2018.
Yeah. That's the great thing about electronic music, is that you don't have to age out of it. Like,
you don't have to.
You're a dude sitting behind a computer or arranging samples.
It doesn't matter what your image is. It doesn't matter. Like what you look like personally doesn't matter. Throw on a fucking helmet and be Deadmau5 or whatever. You know, it doesn't matter what you look like. I don't think Jimmy Cauty is in that group, the Orb, currently, because he seems to be listed as a past member. Alex Patterson is still running it up, and he was the original member with Jimmy in 1988. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Jimmy and Bill are doing now. Now, that's the question. What's going on with them now?
Well, they definitely have a book out. Okay. I have not read it, but I kind of want to. They reunited in order to launch that book semi-recently, because 23 years after they burned the money, that's 2017.
Yeah, very recent.
Yeah. So they're still doing stuff. It's just that anything that they do together has to be willfully perverse and anti-commercial.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, I'd listened to the Chill Out album before coming on to chat with you. I got about 15 minutes into it and I was like, I fucking don't like this. It was not for me, the Chill Out album. But I said, you use the word ambient to describe it. Yes. There was a lot of like weird noises that just kind of went on for a long time. And I was like, I'm not digging this. Sorry.
Yeah. I reached the age in my music snobbery where I decided that it was time to finally get into Brian Eno.
Okay.
And like, the man's a genius, but you got to be in a real specific mood and not need for very much to happen over the course of this music to get invested.
No instant gratification happening.
No, you will not be humming any of this, but you will probably be more relaxed than when you started.
Okay. And that serves a great purpose.
Yeah.
But I don't think I was relaxed at all by that Chill Out album. All I could say was, what the fuck? Like, yeah. I don't know. There's some weird noises happening. Like, it sounded like, I can't even describe what was happening. But I was like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is definitely different than Justified and Ancient.
And this is what they followed up Doctor and the TARDIS with. Like, they put that out. It hit #1. They obviously got sued. They released a book on how to have a #1 hit single with very little money or talent.
That's right.
And then their big follow-up play was an album of ambient music.
Mm-hmm. Hey, at least they've gone out and tried all the different things. They didn't ever succumb to what the record label wanted. None of that crap. They just did stuff they wanted to do. And for that, I salute you, gentlemen. Commend you.
100%.
That's true. I will say that. There was no catering or pandering.
No, they were following a deeply weird muse that may or may not have liked their fans very much, but they were following the shit out of that muse.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, they're definitely the type of group that would definitely have a fair weather fan, the one that just liked a couple tunes that were on the radio.
Yeah.
And then you'd think the rest of it was like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah. And I think they're definitely the kind of band that allows you to do that. Like, in addition to dig deep into the weird mythology that sounds like it would be a pretty good 90s B movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the justified ancients of Moo in a post-apocalyptic wasteland led by Tammy Wynette fighting to either rebuild or destroy what's left of humanity.
Well, it's a huge story, and each video seemed to like lead into another progression of that story. Now, who are the actual, besides Tammy, of course, who are the actual musicians who are doing some of the singing? Like I remember the guy who was doing like the raps, in like What Time Is Love and all those tunes.
The rappers were Ricardo DeForce or Isaac Bello, depending on the track.
Okay, these are the guys I think I need to reach out to. I've tried to reach out to both Bill and Jimmy, and nothing. They're hard to get a hold of.
They're not what you'd call accessible. No.
Yeah. No. Like, I can't even find an email address. No.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm. But I think that's the way they want it. But I think maybe I'll reach out to the guys who have been involved with the band, who did like the actual musicianship, the vocals, and see if I can get some of them to come on the show and talk more about what they experienced during that time.
See what those rappers are doing.
Yeah.
See what Extreme Noise Terror is up to.
Okay, I'm going to write them down too. Extreme Noise Terror. And then they can tell us all about that Brit Awards with the dead sheep and the fake bullets.
Such a great show that I will never watch again.
I want to see audience reaction with, like, what were people saying? What were they looking like? Were there shots of their faces? I guess I'll find out when I check it out on YouTube.
Yeah. I appreciate the Brit Awards. They got a funner vibe than North American award shows, in that I'm pretty sure a larger portion of the performers are drunk.
Yes. Yes. They totally are. It's like the Golden Globes all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, American award shows are very like staged and like calculated to the minute what you're going to say, what you're going to do. Don't deviate from the plan.
Yeah.
And when they do, you get Kanye West.
Whereas like the Brit Awards, come to watch your favorite band receive an award, stay to watch the dude from Pulp get arrested for stage invading Michael Jackson.
Oh yes, that was Jarvis Cocker, right?
Yep.
Oh, I remember that now. Oh, yeah. Shit. Now, what song was that? I think I actually might have had that on a VHS somewhere.
I think, it was some...
So you just wandered on stage while Michael was performing?
Well, he had several drinks, and then Michael Jackson came out dressed like a Messiah figure and surrounded by literal children.
Oh, yeah, right.
In the midst of the first go-round with Michael Jackson accusations.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess part of Jarvis just went, you know what, fuck it. I'm famous enough. I'm famous enough this year to walk this off, but I probably won't be famous enough next year to walk this off. So I better do it now.
Hey, no bad publicity.
That's like, fact.
Publicity is good. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It's good. It's all good. But yeah, we should talk about.
And as time goes by, we learn more and more about Michael Jackson.
Even after his death. Yeah, we should talk about Pulp one day. I don't know if you're a fan of them.
I am a gigantic fan of them.
Okay. Keep that in mind then. We should do an episode on Pulp.
Yeah. Also, tying it back to K.L.F, a band that kind of imploded their career intentionally because they tried being pop stars and realized they didn't care for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because have you listened to This Is Hardcore?
No. No, I just heard their
Yeah,
singles.
it was their follow-up to A Different Class, and it is one of the most terse and paranoid sounding albums I've ever heard. And it is
Lyrically, both melodically and lyrically. Wow.
yeah. And it is gorgeous. Like, it's a gorgeous record. I think it might be my favorite Pulp record.
Yeah.
But they've definitely abandoned a lot of their we make mainstream pop music for the 90s.
When I think of Pulp, the biggest hit single must have been Common People.
Yep.
Because I can't think of another track by them. But I do remember that Blur and Pulp had like one of those like boy band wars. It was like, because they were both big at the same time, and it was kind of like, oh, who's cooler? Who do you love?
I know that Blur and Oasis were constantly at war through the 90s.
Oh, really? Was it that? Yep. Maybe I got that wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pulp and I think probably Suede were the third parties for whom you could vote.
Okay. Fair enough. I thought it was Pulp and Blur. No, okay, it makes more sense, Blur and Oasis, because of the fame levels. I get it. And all the girls love Damon Albarn because he's so cute.
I mean, Damon Albarn is aggressively cute.
Yeah.
All the mid-90s girls are not wrong.
Yeah.
To have wanted to get up on there.
Wasn't it? It was him and it was Gavin Rossdale. It was those two men at that time that were all so cute.
I mean, the dude had some cheekbones.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, we'll do definitely. Let's do a Pulp episode sometime. Maybe we can get somebody from the band to come join us. Maybe.
I would love to thank them for making art that I like to their face.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, it'd be really good.
So I don't know. Maybe we'll reach out and again, we'll see if we can get Bill or Jimmy to come talk sometime. But there you have it, folks. That's pretty much like the history of what we know of the K.L.F. What else is going on? What else can we plug right now?
Well, we've plugged my show. We've plugged your show. Yes. We've plugged your friend's show.
Yes.
Donate some money to a shelter.
Yes.
Buy a nurse a beer.
Buy a nurse a beer. It's very easy to do, and it's very popular right now. And a lot of the local breweries are supporting that as well. It's like $5, if that. Some of them are cheaper.
Yeah.
They are having they're saving lives. They're having the hardest time ever, but they're saving lives. So yeah, do that. Buy a nurse a beer.
And listen to K.L.F. They're not on Spotify, but all 4 of their music videos are definitely on YouTube, and they're insane.
What do you think do you think they might be on Apple Music? Or is it I'm not sure.
No,
and if all else fails, you go on YouTube and you search them and you'll find everything.
That's exactly right. And the videos that I found on YouTube were very much taped off the TV during the 1990s.
Yes, they probably have tracking lines all over them.
Like when they said we're deleting our catalog, they were not fucking around. You had to listen to K.L.F. during 1992, or they did not want you listening to K.L.F. for some reason.
How do you physically delete your catalog in an era yet where the world is far enough along into technology by this point that we have all of your back tapes. We have everything to have it on record that you did this. So how would you physically delete your back catalog?
I mean, you can legally keep it off Spotify and Apple as a rights issue. It's not being sold anywhere. Every copy of any K.L.F. record, you got to go to a secondhand place.
Right. So that's it. It's not being manufactured.
Yeah. There's not new copies of it being made. Holy shit, my dog is eating my $200 headphones. Give me 1 sec.
Okay.
Quentin!
Shit!
Why do you love headphones so much?
I hope this turns out okay.
Quentin. Nope.
He's laughing, so good sign. It's a lot of movement. There's a lot of movement.
This might take longer than I thought.
There's a lot of movement happening, I hear.
That's
So, how are the
very
headphones?
much so. He still got him. I got to go chase a dog around. I got to pull it up short.
Okay.
This has been an absolute blast. I want to have you back on my show, and I want to do this again.
Okay. You go save your headphones. Thank you, Kris Munroe.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
All right.
Talk soon.
Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye.